Welcome to the Psychedelic Integration Podcast. I'm Sinclair Fleetwood, a ceremonialist, plant medicine guide, and psychedelic integration coach, and I help soul seekers create lasting transformation so you can get unstuck, embody your power, and be authentic AF, all with plant medicine as your guide. If you're ready to go beyond visuals and get a vision for your life, if you know the end of your ceremony is just the beginning of your expansion, then this show is for you. I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome. Hello, family. Welcome to the show. I'm Sinclair. Thanks for being here. I wanted to start this episode with appreciation and acknowledgement of this transition time that we're in between summer and autumn. The golden days of summer are lazily coming to a close. School is back in session, and we are on our way into full-on fall. I bought my first pumpkin spice thing today, and I got very excited because I love pumpkin spice because I'm a basic bitch like that. And well, I've just been noticing the trees and the leaves and the change in temperature, and the light is getting different. And I like to bring up seasons on this show because coming into awareness and relationship with the earth and her seasons, and remembering that I'm a seasonal being, and I'm like the trees or the bears or the animals that change their habits and their needs change, and how I show up changes, what my body needs, what my heart needs, the kind of rest I need is changing. And this is something I just used to completely be oblivious of. Like, I didn't know that seasons were a thing that we should pay attention to, or that would be beneficial for my health and wellness to pay attention to. I didn't notice the intricate changes in my body when the light changes. I always just thought I'm supposed to be the same every day. And that is just so false, especially for women. Men can get away with that a little bit more, but men are also seasonal. You're seasonal brothers. You have different needs. You might be changing as well. And women are more cyclical in the feminine expression in our physical bodies anyway. It's beautiful to take a moment to notice this in-between time. I learned something really beautiful today that I wanted to share, because I don't know if you know this. I didn't know this until today. Ian told me this, my partner. I think he heard it from Zach Bush. Did you know that the dawn song, the dawn chorus, the bird song, the birds singing, has a symbiotic, beneficial effect on the trees? And it opens their stomata, the pores that take in the carbon dioxide, and it basically helps them breathe better. The vibration of the bird singing opens the trees to be sending air in and out, taking in the carbon dioxide, putting out oxygen and water. Wow. Just wow. I mean, Earth is so cool. This is so beautiful. There are so many relationships like this in nature. And what I am excited to share about today, as we talk about the mushrooms, we're going to talk about magic mushrooms, psilocybin, and this is the third episode in my 3-season series about getting to know the vibration of these plant teachers, ayahuasca, San Pedro mushrooms. And the mushrooms especially feel so deeply connected to everything on earth, to everything that exists. They are the great connector. They are the great transformer. They are so powerful and so enigmatic and alien and ancient, and they have so many beautiful characteristics. But the number one thing that mushrooms have taught me in my over, 30 years of working with them, almost 30 years of working with them, recreationally and ceremonially and intentionally, is you are not alone. You have never been alone. We are one. We are all connected. And they've shared this message to me from the stars, from the star people. They've told me through the trees, through the animals, through the water, through butterflies, through the wind, through the family, through the fire. I have heard this message over and over and over and over from the mushrooms. Their main purpose is how they work in nature, is how they work in our bodies, and it's connection. The mycelium is the neural network of the earth, right? And so reminding us that we're not alone and we're not disconnected. And I think one of our biggest problems in society and in our own lives is this isolation that we feel. we're more connected than ever. Like the internet is basically inspired by the mushrooms. The mushrooms invented the internet. That's how they work on Earth. The mycelium is connected to all the trees. Everything is connected. But we are living these lives where we're connected, but it's like false. It's superficial. It's fake. It's like social media is not connection. Social media, not to say that it's all bad, but there's so many people living in isolation and in separation and living alone and living outside of community and living outside of families. And then all you need to do is take a pause and look into nature, and you hear the trees moving in the wind, and you're breathing the air that they're making, and you're telling me that you feel alone. And you hear the birds singing, and the birds are opening the way for the trees to make air that we breathe. And then the air that we breathe, the air that's going into the trees, and they're feeding the birds. It's like we are all part of the fabric of life. And we forget this because we're just on a schedule, and it's like day in, day out, same, you know, and that's not how life works. That's not how we're meant to live. So I always remind us on this show to like check in with the seasons, check in with your heart, see, do you need more sleep? Do you need different food? What are you craving? What's going on? How are you changing like the trees outside? And if you're not sure, go sit with them. Ask them to tell you. They will. Eat some mushrooms and ask the mushrooms to tell you. So in this series, I'm tapping into the vibration and the experience and the energy and the essence of each of these 3 favorite teachers that I work with. And I've had such different experiences with all of them. I actually started working with mushrooms the earliest, and by working with, I mean, taking at festivals and like when I was 19, you know, how you do the recreational experiences with medicines is like, yeah, I was partying with mushrooms. I used to take them a bunch. I've had them in all different kinds of settings. I've had really beautiful experiences with them in those contexts, and also really bad, scary ones, and everything in between. When I started working with ayahuasca in San Pedro, it was sort of love at first cup. You know, I very easily felt, because I had not, I mean, those are not medicines that you would find at a festival. You know, it's like, those are ceremonial medicines. I had a mission. I was going to a retreat, and I was like, I'm going to heal. And I'm doing this with reverence and intention. And mushrooms were kind of not in the picture. They sent me to the ayahuasca, but then they kind of disappeared out of my life for a few years. And then I ended up going to a mushroom retreat in Mexico and really meeting them ceremonially for the first time. And man, did they feel different. Did they feel powerful beyond measure? And did they scare the shit out of me? Yes, they did. And it was really powerful for me to receive them in that way and to see them as full on equal of, you know, ayahuasca and San Pedro. Like, I think ayahuasca in particular gets the reputation of being this, like, the big heavy healer. You know, going into an ayahuasca ceremony is like, you're going to get all this deep physical healing. Mushrooms can do the same. They do very similar healing. They heal us on an energetic level. They heal our brain. And that's one of the main places that I feel the mushrooms working on me: the gut, the brain, the connective parts of us. You know, they go into the cellular network and heal in a different way than ayahuasca, but similar, you know. And I think I had this idea that, like, well, mushrooms don't really, you know, that's not a good enough medicine to work with. And, well, I apologize to the mushrooms forever for saying that. I did not know any better. And then I finally learned. And then, you know, they came into my life as in a deeper way. And then I started working with them as a facilitator. And now they're absolutely one of the most powerful healing forces in my life for many years now. And I love them. And I have similarly to ayahuasca and San Pedro, like, these medicines are not always nice. Sometimes we need them to be challenging and strong on us. You know, they we need them to be stern. We need them to say, hey, you are not fucking paying attention, and hand our ass to us a little bit. And so the mushrooms are capable of doing that too. I've had many dark, scary experiences on them, not because I wasn't in a good place or in a good way, but just because that's what happened. And for me, taking larger doses will almost always guarantee a more intense and even dark experience. So over time, I have learned, for me, and this is really usually how it is with most medicines as far as dosing, the more you take, the more intense it will be. And so I have found really beneficial places to land. I really believe in minimum effective dose, where you are taking the minimum amount of medicine needed to initiate the experience that you want to have or you need to have. And that's often not as much as maybe you're being served or that you've been told. So mushrooms have a reputation of like, okay, if you take 5 dried grams in silent darkness, you will understand the meaning of life. This is what Terence McKenna said about the mushrooms. And I always like to bring that up because I find it really annoying, because it's a super masculine thing. It's like, yeah, just take a whole bunch and get your stupid self out of the way, and you're going to have this kind of experience. And one of my pet peeves about mushrooms is people saying, take X amount of grams and you will have X experience. That is patently false. That's not how it works. How many grams you take depends, and how it works will depend on your body, your metabolism, your mental state, your emotional state, your health in general, how the energy of the mushrooms is able to move in you. Do you have a bunch of blockages? Do you have energetic blockages? You could take 1 gram one day and it feel not very strong, and then take another gram of the same exact medicine the next day and it feels like the most crazy ride you've ever been on. I've seen it happen dozens of times. It happens all the time. I know people who can take 12, 14 grams of mushrooms and not feel very much. That is also very common. Some people need more medicine than other people. It also depends on the strain of the mushroom. So if you're taking Golden Teacher, it's going to be softer than something like Penis Envy or Enigma or, Natalenses, which, I really like those. If you are on the journey looking for which medicine is right for me, mushrooms are safe. They are very safe. There is a ton of science about how they work in the brain. They are doing their infiltration of the matrix. The mushrooms are like, we do not have time for these monkeys to destroy the earth. We are going to go in, we're going to infiltrate their medical system. We're going to get in there, and good for them. It makes me so happy that they're like that they are putting their consciousness into the places where it's needed. Because the more people that can get this medicine into their bodies and lives, and if it's the insurance companies are paying for it, great. My favorite way to work with these medicines is, I have 2 favorite ways, actually. The first favorite way is in ceremony. The ceremonial container, sitting with the fire, family, singing, silence, being together, being in nature. That's my favorite way. That's my favorite way to work with all the medicine. I really love ceremony. That's my personal preference. It's been the most beneficial for me. It's been the most healing for me. I really feel the mushroom consciousness, the mycelium, the neural network of the earth. These plants have been gathering ancient wisdom across the network of the earth for billions of years. And our brains developed the capacity to take this into our bodies and metabolize it, and it grows new neural pathways in our brain. It comes into our body. It takes out the old. This is how they work in nature. They are harbingers of change, right? They come in and they take old material, decaying material, whether it's energy, whether it's trees that have died. The way they work in nature is how they work in our bodies. And this mycelium comes and it colonizes, and it takes the dead and turns it into life. So it's the undertaker and the birth doula. It's both taking out the old and bringing in the new, and clearing and cleaning and opening the way and inviting new opportunities to connect new neural pathways and to make deep connections and to make new consciousness possible, and not to just make you know it in your mind, but to walk with it. And that's what I think is so revolutionary about mushrooms is they're plentiful, they're accessible, they're easy to access, they have a low barrier for entry. So unlike ayahuasca, you don't need to do a big, diet or cleanse. They don't have as many contraindications as ayahuasca because they're just very safe. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't prepare. And it doesn't mean you should just, eat pizza for a week and then gobble down a bunch of mushrooms. The clearer you are and the more clean and open you are and the less other stuff you have in your body, the better the medicines work. That's why in every tradition they're like, you should do you need to eat this way, and you need to pay attention to what you're consuming, drink a lot of water, get your electrolytes up, get lots of rest. Like, you want to prepare yourself. And just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And yes, you can take mushrooms and be on SSRIs. You can take mushrooms and be on other medications. And for some people, they need to do it like that. When you are on antidepressants or ADHD medication or benzodiazepines or some of these other medications that work on the serotonin system, the dopamine system in the brain, when you put medicine into your body, it often takes much higher doses for you to have an experience because the receptors in the brain are already being occupied by other substances. So you will often find that facilitators who work with mushrooms will require that you are not taking any of those medications, and that's a smart, good practice. So this is sort of a controversial thing probably for a lot of people, but my personal feeling is we want to take these medicines to help us get off of the psychiatric medications. And not everyone can get off of them. It might not be the right choice for you, and that's okay. If you have to stay on something like that, mushrooms are going to be the safest thing for you. And you might not be able to feel them. It might take you multiple journeys. It might take time. If you've been on these medications, oftentimes it can take months to years to actually be able to feel the medicines after you've been on these medications. This is something I go into deeper, with my coaching clients. I help people get off antidepressants and ADHD medications as their coach, as their support. This is not medical advice, obviously. You have to do what's right for you, but it's something to think about. If you're really called to medicine, you are taking some kind of medication, mushrooms are the medicine because the other ones are really more dangerous to work with when you are taking something for your mental health. And this is also not a judgment on taking medications for your mental health. Sometimes we need them. I have taken them a few times in my life for, periods where I needed to get through. And I'm so grateful that we have these to take us through these times. But a lot of people are getting on these and then they're on them for 20 years or more. It's sort of like, okay, well, you have to take this for the rest of your life. And the science is sort of coming out that like, they're not doing what they said and they're not helping, and they're kind of numbing, and you don't feel sad, but you also don't feel anything. And that's not a life. Like, not feeling numb and despondent and not in yourself is not a life. It's a hollow life. And what we want is a fully lived, embodied life. And that's where the medicines can come in. And when you wean off of the antidepressants and the medications, and then you start working with the medicine, wow, you are going to get so much more expansion and change and possibility faster than if you are doing them at the same time. A lot of people microdose to get off antidepressants, and that is a really good option as well. So it's just something to think about if that's you. And so also trust your own timeline, and to know that if these medicines are calling you, you will feel ready to start taking the walk off of the medications. You will know in your heart that this is the right way, and you'll be willing to go through the discomfort and maybe face some of the fear of like, I don't know how to live without these. This might not be good for me. I'm afraid of how I was before. So a lot of that stuff is something you have to consider for yourself when you're thinking about which medicine is right for me. Okay. And if you want to talk more about this, book a call with me. This is what I do. I help people move through this process of understanding what is the right medicine. How do I know? You don't have to already be working with medicine to work with an integration coach. In fact, if you're on the beginning of the path, that's the time to start looking for support and getting the support, because you're investing all this time and energy and money, especially if you're going to retreats. Make it count. You want to like get the best bang for your buck, and the integration is where the magic happens. It's all the mycelial like connection. It's like how we get the neural pathways that we make in the ceremony to actually wire together practice, repetition, reflection, learning the knowledge, and then doing the practices and rewiring your beliefs and making it actually real so that you can change your life. Because that's really what this is all for, is to change. And if we're doing it and it's not working and it's not changing, like, what is the point, right? So I have another episode about mushrooms. If you want to get deeper into the indigenous history, like more about everything to do with mushrooms. Episode 85, Magic, Mushrooms, Medicine for the People. Highly recommend to listen to that one. I also have another episode about San Pedro. It's one of my older ones with my former co-host, John. It's episode 25, all about Grandfather San Pedro. There's another great episode with Carlos Tanner of the Ayahuasca Foundation. I think it's episode 13. So if you want to get more into the 3 medicines that I've been talking about, that's the way. I just want to say, the last thing about the mushrooms is they're this very enigmatic group consciousness that kind of took me a long time to understand, and I'm still learning about them. I feel the more I work with them, and the more that they teach me, the more I don't know, which I really like, right? I really like about them. And I went from being really afraid of them because they felt so overwhelming and so confusing and so different than my relationship with ayahuasca and San Pedro. And I kind of got where I'm like, I don't know about these mushrooms. Like they're scary. I don't know if I like them. And then over time, just coming back and being open and being willing and going through some discomfort and learning and like talking with them and recognizing that the way that they were speaking to me was so different and wasn't coming through this sort of personification of like grandmother spirit or grandfather spirit. It's more like earth spirit or all that is spirit. It's so connected. It's so group consciousness. It sort of breaks down the barrier of the ego and then you feel connected to everything. And it's not like the mushroom, the spirit of the mushrooms are talking to you necessarily, although they are called the sainted children. So they have a little bit of a playful vibe. They have a little bit of a mischievous vibe. They're kind of trickstery. They're kind of elusive and they show up in all different kinds of ways depending on how you are relating to them. And that's really the thing I want you to know is that these medicines are here for you to build a relationship with. I can talk about my relationship with them all day, but I can't tell you how your relationship is going to be. I can tell you how to work with it and how to work in yourself and to build your relationship with yourself so that you can trust what's going on between you and the medicines. But it's between you and the medicine. And you might have a favorite. You might have a really beautiful experience with ayahuasca, and then you might have San Pedro and you're like, I don't get it. I don't like this. And that's okay. All of it is okay. How you do it is okay. Fuck around and find out. You can't do it wrong, right? Like this is what we're doing. We're trying, we're experimenting, and we're getting to know the medicines, and we're trusting ourselves, and we're doing it in a safe way, and we're doing it in a loving way, and we're doing it in a reverent way, and being willing to look at the stuff that is hard and sit in the messy middle and do the work in the in-between periods so that these connections that we're getting from these medicines are actually wiring into our brains and making tangible changes in our lives. Because if they're not, something is missing, right? And I just want to circle back to something I said earlier, which was I talked about doing mushrooms in ceremony. Also, one of my other favorite ways to work with them is in family ceremony is how we call it. And what we like to do as a team is go out into nature, create a loose container, and spend time together with these beautiful teachers. And we like to take really low doses and we just enjoy and we frolic and we play in the grass and we run through the forest. And it doesn't always have to be, ceremony doesn't have to be we're sitting in a circle around a fire and not speaking. That's one kind of ceremony. That's the way that we do it. It's like, we're in communion with the medicine. We have I like to call it a spaceship because it's like that. It's like, okay, we're going on a spaceship. I'm your driver. I will be driving the spaceship and we're going to parts unknown. And this fire is the anchor. We're taking care of you. The family is here taking care of you. And you can go wherever you need to go. And we're here and we're going to sing to you, like lullaby you and take care of you. And we're going to have fun on the way. We do lots of different stuff inside of the container and it's really beautiful. And it's always a surprise and it's always fun. And that's just one way, it's one of the best ways. And that's why I like to do it like that. But we also do it in a more casual way. And mushrooms are really conducive for that because they're really fun and they're really silly. And healing through joy is just as healing as going into your dark stuff, You won't find many ayahuasca ceremonies where you get to go and frolic and be free and laugh. Like, it's not that kind of medicine. And thank God, because you got to be careful about that stuff. It's taking you deep within, and sometimes you need to be still and you need to have a focus and you need to have prayers and you need the container to hold everything. doing ceremonial work outside of a container, the container is there to hold the energy and anchor it in. And when you don't have that, things can often go a little bit sideways and wonky. You are capable of ritual. You are capable of creating safe spaces for yourself to experience medicine. And really, mushrooms is the medicine for that. It's the one that wants to be used that way. It's easy to use that way. And really, in order to have a good relationship with it, you need to be willing to keep coming back and take it easy, take it slow, take your time. It's different than going to, okay, maybe I only get one chance in my life to go drink ayahuasca. Well, you're going to drink ayahuasca in a retreat once, you might want to go for it. You know, you might want to really go all in and be like, yep, I'm going to drink all this ayahuasca. Like, that makes sense. With mushrooms, it's a little bit softer. You know, it can be softer. It can be like, I'm going to start slow, and I'm going to see how this medicine moves in me. And the next time I have it, I'm going to maybe have a little more. And then the next time I have it, maybe a little more. And then that time is a little bit too much. And you're like, okay, here's my range. Like, I like to take, 1 gram to 2 grams or something. Like, that's how you learn, is just practice and treat it like a reverent relationship with a loved one, with a sacred energy, with a sacred consciousness that has unlimited information and guidance and love to give you. And if it has unlimited love, it has unlimited pain, because that's how it works, If it can take you to the highest exalted ecstasy feeling of like meeting God, it can also take you into the opposite expression of that, because that is how the polarity of the universe works. Everything is more than one thing. We've got love and lack of love. I think the opposite of love is alienation and isolation. I don't think the opposite of love is hate. I think it's complete disconnection. Because if love is the vibration of the universe, then like no love, no connection, no family, no friends, no expression of otherness that would of like being seen and witnessed and felt and held and known by the universe. I think that's what the opposite of love is. And I don't know, I'm kind of redefining my definition of that, because it feels like, oh, hate is the opposite of love, but I don't think so. Because there's some love in hate. If you are really, really angry and upset about something, it's because you really care about it in some way. And that's not, there's love in there, because it means that you're still fired up, you're still caring, you're still invested. Indifference is more the opposite of love, is like a universe that doesn't care about you, being completely like isolated forever from everything. That feels like the lack of love to me. And I think the mushrooms are here to bring us back to our inner knowing and our inner truth that we've never been ever, for even a single moment outside of the love of the universe. Not once. So I hope this is helpful. And it's so like abstract and esoteric to talk about this stuff, because it's so hard to explain in like actual words. I do my best every week to try to like make some sense out of this stuff. And some of it is hard to talk about. And I hope it is sort of landing and giving you inspiration. And like I said, if you want more support, I am here to help you. I can help you exactly with what's going on with you. Like, on this show, I touch on a lot of different topics in a kind of generic, more universal way. And with coaching, it's what's going on with you? What's happening in your life? What's going on at work? What's going on in your job? Like, how are you not feeling authentic? How are you not showing up as your true self? What masks are you wearing? Like, where are you out of alignment with your heart and your purpose? Where in your body is your fear showing up? These are the things that we work on inside of Nest, inside of one-on-one coaching. And I would love to walk through this transitional season with you. If you are looking for support, please get in touch, sinclairfleetwood.com. You can book a free call with me. We can talk about all the different things and get to know each other a little bit and see if it's a good fit. We're also probably going to have some more events in the fall and winter. So get on my email list if you want to learn more when those are happening. Thank you so much, family. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for being here, and see you next time.